think it's time to do some painting. Do you want to do a painting? Come on, let's do a painting. Okay, bye. I think it's time to do a painting, my friends. Let me just, I just need to pour some of this red in here and make my heater a little less hot. And let's get started with some painting. Let's get some painting going. What's up? What's happening, beautiful people of the Instagrams? This is your boy Jose Trujillo. Man, I gotta silence that first because it's gonna be. I started getting into TikTok and what are those other things? Here, let me just give me a second. Let me see. Let me know if you guys can hear me, please. I'd like to know if you guys can hear me. If you guys can't, I'll change things up. But let me know if you can hear me. Just give me a yes if you can hear me, please. Anyone? I'll be forever grateful. Forever young. I'll be forever young and grateful. Let's see here. Okay, can hear. Okay, yes. Okay, awesome. Thank you. Appreciate that. So I'm just gonna be pouring some red here. I'm mixing some red, and we're about to get ready. Okay. We're about to get ready. I just want to have enough red so that we can get this thing rolling. I haven't painted in about 4 days. I don't think I painted in I think this is the first time in about 4 days I painted. This happens maybe once a year, either when I'm in once or twice, either when I'm pre-COVID vacation or during this season, this time. And so when I come back and paint, I am much more. I want to paint, you know, because I haven't done it in some days. So I'm like, dude, I got to get back and start doing some painting. So just to give you an idea, I am mixing my red with some walnut oil. Okay, and so that it's like super juicy. Mixing my red with some walnut oil to make it super juicy. This is the way that I like to use my paints. Super juicy. And the reason, there's a couple of reasons behind that, but the main reason is that when the paint is super juicy, it's easier to use, of course. It's easier to paint for me. And also I'm able to spread it in a wider way. It's not fighting back. Not only is it easy on my hands, but the paint is not fighting back. So for those of you who would like to learn some of this stuff, I do offer painting workshops, painting classes. I offer painting and marketing workshops. And so that is available, just to let you know. I have a monthly subscription that I do. So let's get to it. Hey, what's happening, Rachel? What's up, Rachel? Let's do this. So we're gonna start out by doing one of these 16 by 20s. I'm gonna start big because I haven't painted in a little while, and so I'm gonna start a little bit bigger with this 16 by 20. There we go. Okay, so the way that I do it is I don't really draw it with pencil or something like that. I just go straight to the painting, but that's not entirely true. I do draw, but I draw with paint. Just something that I started learning from some bigwig artists. They're like, dude, if you're gonna draw something, draw with the paint. Don't draw it with a graphite or a charcoal. And so I thought it was pretty cool. So here you go. So I'm going to start drawing my painting with some paint. Very simple. Look at this. Just some black paint. That's all it is. Just black paint. Man, I've been so out of it because I've been like, you know, when you have one too many tamales and you're like in food coma? That's been me. And so I'm like, dude, I think I've had uno más tamales than I should have had. Super simple, guys. Check it out. This is something that I love to emphasize when I'm painting. If someone out there tells you that the painting is not that simple or expressionist work or whatever, just know that that's their reality. That's not the reality. Like the ultimate reality. That's just their own reality. That's how they carry themselves. They want to make things more complicated, and that's okay. Different things for different people, you know. Different things for different people. Artists have a tendency. We do have a tendency to think that it's because just because it's like it's this way for me, it's this way for everybody, and of course it's not. Everybody has a different way of seeing things. Which is do everybody does. We just do have a different way of seeing things, and so don't let the mine or other artists' limitations get in your own way. After all, they are just limitations. So we had my mother-in-law has a little puppy, a little girl puppy, and my dog has been smelling my shoes nonstop. We had the little puppy come over for Christmas, and my dog. I came back here to my studio, and my dog's like, "Hey, you're hanging out with someone else. It's not me. What's going on?" He seems a little irritated though. Feels like he was left out of the party. Couple of pears right there. How's it going, Tonya? Good to see you. Very, very simple stuff, my friends. Again, if you think this is difficult, it's not. It is not difficult at all. I'll put some flowers on top of this. Nothing is difficult. It really isn't. It takes a little bit of love, you know, just being there, a little bit of love. Couple of slices of something. Let's put a third one right here. There we go. Let's even put one right here to unite us, like William Wallace. Unite us. And I watch so much TV this past couple of days. It's not even funny. I feel a little zombied out. Oh, freaking television, man. Can't be good for your brain. My wife says I'm so exaggerated, but I grew up thinking television was the devil, and not because I was religious or anything like that. No, my parents didn't like us watching too much TV, so we were always doing something. My mother made sure that we were always doing something physically, something physical, where you're not just sitting there. And so to this day, I don't have it as much as I used to, but I used to be very conscious and even have guilt around watching TV for more than an hour or something. You even have some sort of guilt. And so Christmas was all about sitting there and watching TV. Not all day, but for the most part. And I was like, oh my God, this is so... I can't stand it anymore. I'm old school like that. I'm a young guy with old school ideas about TV. I think it's not very good for the mind. Look at this. You see this? Very, very simple. This is what I love about painting, my friends. Again, because it gets you into a place where you have to do both. It's almost like sewing. You have to use your mind and not use it. Use your mind and not use it. It's very interesting. You have to. It's using both, right? Using the thread and the void, the hole, right? The thread and the void. If that makes any sense. So yeah, there's some stuff that you do know as an artist, things that you do know, but there's a lot of trusting you have to do as well. You have to do a lot of not knowing, and that makes it super delicious to do. Makes it super delicious to do, because you're always in this sort of state of knowing and not knowing. Yes, I know how to paint, but I have to pretend that I don't know everything if I want to do a good painting. Because if I know everything, I can't have a good painting, or I can't have a good experience painting. It's like traveling. When was the last time you traveled somewhere and you know everything about it? That's not a very good travel, right? That's a tour guide. That's not a travel. That's not a journey. A journey is when you get you get a little bit lost somewhere, and you're like, where do I go now? And that's where the surprises happen. You get a little bit lost. You get a little bit, not necessarily just physically lost, but time-wise, right? You get a little time-wise lost. The time starts losing. You start losing the sense of time. And then that becomes a good journey. Pretty much like that with painting. This is why I love this so much. You can, one can really lose themselves in this and then find your way back easily as well. And then you make the rules. You follow some of the rules, some of the things. Yes, light, shadow, that type of deal. But you don't really get stuck in that. You kind of make it as you go. Otherwise, what's the fun? What's up, Patrick? How's it going? Good to see you here. Happy holidays, everybody who celebrates holidays. Those of you who don't celebrate holidays, happy today. Let's see. Let's put some. Look at this. And again, the trick to this thing is to let it go. Do and let go. Do and let go. It's again, right? It's the thread of the needle and the hole as well. You do and then you let go. We get some a little bit orange. We're gonna get a little bit of that orange. We're gonna put it right here. Look at that. Monet would be so what's that word? Envious of me right now. Monet. He'd be so envious. Angry Monet. That's what I read about him. At some point, I started reading letters and just things that they talked about him, people that knew him. They said he had some anger with him. He carried a bit of anger. Well, who wouldn't, right? I'd be pissed if I was like working my entire career and not see anything happen. A lot of his anger was around that. Look at that. What's happening, Bruston? Good to see you. Bruston, hola amigo. All the cool kids are here today. Yeah. It's all the cool people are hanging out on this Insta. I love that. So my cool amigos are like, "What's up, Jose? What you up to, man?" So please forgive me if I make no sense while I'm painting. I try to not make as much sense. There's usually magic when you stop making sense of things. And so I'm a little minor. I'm looking for magic. I'm looking for some of those gems when I'm painting. So if you're asking yourself, well, why is the light there? Or why is there no light here? Or why is the shadow there? Or, if you don't know, I sure as hell don't know. So I try to know very little. My entire goal when I'm painting is to know very little of what I'm doing. That's my goal. And sometimes I succeed, sometimes I don't. But I try to succeed as often as possible. But that is the goal, my friends. If I know less today than I did yesterday, I'm a better artist today. If I know what I'm doing just a little less. Or something like that. Yeah, my pears. There we go. Let's put some of the color in there. There we go. Put some of that color in here too. Why not? Let's all have it reflected. See, it's very simple. It's all that Christmas magic, my friends. I pray too, you know. I'm like, baby Jesus, please make me know less than I did yesterday. I want to know less today. I do some of that praying too. Patrick says, you did the hard work, now become a child again. With natural experience, you're a master at this. Patrick, my friend, you completely get it. You understand what the whole deal is. The journey of an artist, I think if you're doing it right, is like this. You start out flat and then you go, you learn, right? You learn everything you can. This will take you maybe between 5, 10 years, sometimes 20. It took me 20 years, right? And then at some point, you're like, you start going down, but in funky ways. But you don't go down necessarily in a up and down, get out of the question. First, all you want to do is go up. And then up and down, get out of the question. So you start playing like a child. And so painting becomes not something you want to get good at, but something you want to enjoy. You're looking for the joy in it now. It's not something you stop looking for being good at it. And so you find the bliss in painting in simple things like being as present as you can in every brushstroke. Because when you're learning, you're not very present. Because your mind is constantly gauging whether you're doing it right or wrong. And it's the natural evolution, right, of the artist. You want to get good at it. But getting good at it is only part of the deal. Finding the joy in it, because you have to go back. It's like a prodigal son. You have to go back. First you had the riches, In the beginning, when you don't know how to paint, you have the keys of the kingdom. You have no idea what you're doing, and so you're enjoying everything. Once you decide that you actually want to take it serious, if you're not careful, which most artists are not, you become very sad and very angry because you're trying to get good at it. The joy goes out the window. And so this is one of the reasons I say many of the artists out there who are very, very, very good are not very happy with their work. And it's part of the evolution of the artist. You have to come back to your father or your mother. You have to come back home. You have to come back to the reason why you picked up the brush in the first place. It was because you were in joy with it. You enjoyed it. It wasn't because you were trying to get good at it. Trying to get good at it is just part of it. It's important. You want to get good at it. You want to learn the composition, the values. You want to learn the theory. Yeah, it's part of it, and it's fun and frustrating all at the same time. But at some point, you have to come back home. You have to come back home. Coming back home is finding the joy all over again. Remind yourself why you did it in the first place. Many artists can't come back home. They don't want to. They're stuck. I know I was stuck in trying to get good. It's like Narcissus looking at the reflection in a microwave, right? In a very small way, but it's basically that, because am I good enough? Because this is reflecting me, right? This is reflecting me, so I need this to show, to give me my sense of self, and that's part of the evolution of the artist. But you have to drop that at some point, and not look for it to reflect you anymore. Some of that stays there. Some of that is there. Sense of pride, or I did this, I'm the artist, blah, blah, blah. But for the most part, it needs to be dropped. Otherwise, you will not find the joy all over it. I mean, you're just not going to find the joy in painting. You're going to be what artists out there say, the frustrated artist. Frustrated artist. And you don't need to be a frustrated artist. You can be a peaceful artist. You can be someone who is someone who's actually creating a change. Not necessarily through their art, but through the quality in which they create the art. You don't have to be an avant-garde. You don't have to be Picasso. You don't have to be any. You can, but the true change is that which is created from the energetic field, the energy in which you create the artwork. You're frustrated, you could create very good art if you're frustrated. But it doesn't mean that you're necessarily creating something good for life, for yourself or others. I know I was very frustrated for years as an artist. And then you have to come back home. We say in Spanish, regresa a tus inicios. You got to come back to your beginnings. Your beginnings are when you picked up that brush and you felt nothing but bliss, and you said, I want to keep doing this. And then you took on the journey of learning how to do it. The journey of learning how to do it is an uphill thing. It's supposed to be that way. It's supposed to be that way. Conceptual things are that way. Learning how to do something is very conceptual. It requires a lot of thinking, a lot of learning, memorizing. Color theory, composition, values, tints, all those things. Mediums, how to hold the brush, what types of brush do I use, how do I prime the canvas, how many times do I prime it, and on, what format fits best for this type of work. What should I be doing? Still lifes, portraits, landscapes, and on. All of that is the journey. That's all the journey. And it's fun, but it can also be very frustrating for many artists, because it gives you a sense that you haven't arrived yet. Anything that gives you a sense that you haven't arrived, it robs you from your peace, because the only place that you can actually be at peace is where you're standing. But if you're moving towards something, then you haven't arrived yet. If you're learning something, then the feeling is, I haven't arrived. And anything that you haven't arrived can be very frustrating. I want to paint better. I want more of this. I want more of that. I want more followers on my Instagram account. I want more money. Blah, 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 right? I want more because I haven't arrived yet. And in a level that is true, but in the ultimate reality of things, that is not true. Where you're standing is where you're supposed to be. How much do you know how to paint is where you're supposed to be. How much work are you doing? Are you selling your work? You're not selling it? Whatever it is where you're supposed to be. Where you're standing is where you're supposed to be. Nowhere else. Otherwise you wouldn't be there. The entire universe has put you there. And we fight it, this is a funny thing, we fight it. Even though the entire universe conspired to put us there, we still fight it. Human beings are interesting that way. We're very interesting that way. We don't like accepting where we're at. Because we confuse it. We confuse it with resignation, or being a loser or whatever. We confuse it with that. It's not true. It doesn't mean you can't keep climbing to your destination, but it means you have to savor the fact that you're standing where you're standing. And that's not always easy. Especially if you think that you're supposed to be somewhere. If you're supposed to be somewhere else, well, you won't accept where you're standing. As long as you keep thinking you're supposed to be somewhere else, you're not going to accept it. But what I'm telling you, what I'm talking about, is hardly ever touched on with artists. Most people that are teaching, or most people that are sharing any of this stuff, they tell you that you're supposed to be somewhere else, and then you believe the idea that you're supposed to be somewhere else. And so that creates frustration. I'm supposed to be somewhere else. I've been painting for so long, and I'm not any better at it. I'm supposed to be somewhere. No, you're not. You're supposed to be where you're standing. If you just accept and admit that where you are is perfect, it opens up. It gives you the opening to that which you're looking for. But the opening doesn't occur unless you accept. Some old religions call it They call it. They have a word for it. All five major religions have a word for it. Some of them kneel. Most of them kneel in order to not forget. It was placed there so that people wouldn't forget about it. Kneeling is an act of that. Oh yeah, remember, surrender. All great religions have that. The five major religions try to remind human beings to surrender. To surrender to your will, right? To your personal will. Because your personal will tells you you're not where you're supposed to be. So it's always irritating to not be where you're supposed to have that idea that I should be somewhere else, not here. I'm telling you, as an artist, one artist to another, wherever you're standing, is exactly where you're supposed to be. Nowhere else. Look at that. And then you start enjoying your work. There is no joy in your work if you think you're supposed to be somewhere else. You think you're supposed to be a little faster, a little better. You're supposed to have more skill than that which you have already right now. There is no joy. Look at that. Look at that. Rachel says, this is so timely for me. Accepting myself in incubation phase. Yeah, sometimes you are in an incubation phase. And you know, imagine if the egg was like, I'm supposed to be a chicken. No, you might be breakfast. You might never be a chicken. It's okay. You are where you are. That's never really the reality of human beings. Human beings, everybody serves their purpose. Everybody blossoms at some point or another. It's your destiny to blossom. Rachel says, the best quote I've ever heard about this was, if you're always believing you need to be somewhere else, you'll never be home to receive you. Yeah. Buenos dias. How's it going, my friend? Yeah. That's a great quote. It's a good reminder. Yeah, we spend a lot of time trying to be somewhere else. Whether it's, skills or getting paid. I know I coach artists, so a lot of artists tell me, I should be getting paid now. I've been doing this for, so long, or this or that. Or I should be getting paid more for my work, or I should know more, or I should have a bigger following in my, I don't know, a bigger email list, or this or that. All the shoulds and the should nots. We become a victim of the shoulds. I should be. I'm not, so therefore I'm something's wrong. Nothing's wrong. There's nothing absolutely wrong. Other than the fact that you think you should be somewhere else, or you should be in a different situation. That's the only wrong thing there is here. If we can name something wrong, we don't have to. But if we must say that something is wrong, it's the fact that you believe that you should be somewhere else, other than where you're standing. Because then you don't savor it. It comes full of gifts. big, giant gifts. But you can't savor them because you can't see them, because you're there. It's got to be there. It's got to be elsewhere. It's not here. And so the painting becomes a means to an end rather than an end in itself. The painting becomes a thing that you have to. It becomes a bridge rather than the destination. And so everything becomes a bridge. It's like, oh, I'm going to use that to get there. And so there's never any joy in the painting. There's never any joy in the beautiful things that happen, whether you got a commission, you got accepted in a gallery, or you're learning something new, you're incubating yourself. You know, yeah, but I've been incubating myself for so long, blah, 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 blah. That's what the mind's going to start telling you. It's not true. It's not true. If you were ripe, you would have fallen from the tree already. If you're not ripe yet, you're not ripe yet, and it's okay. Vivek says, really needed to hear this today, Jose. Thank you, Vivek. Love your style and advice. Thank you. Thank you so much, Garrett. Let's switch the brush. Well, as an artist, I think that I personally have been through my what do they call them? Moments that lasted years, right? They weren't moments; they became years because life happens that way. Where I felt like nothing of what I did was good enough. And it doesn't really matter where you're standing. You're going to feel that as long as you keep wanting to be somewhere else. So I felt that I wasn't good enough as an artist. And that if I was any good, I'd be getting paid. And then at some point, I started getting paid. And I was like, now I had this feeling, and I was already getting paid over $500,000 a year selling my artwork. And I still had that feeling. I had this feeling that if I was any good, I'd be getting paid more. And then it just kind of, you know, after looking at it and looking at it, and learning a little bit about what that feeling was, that not enoughness feeling, I started understanding that it's a thief. That feeling is a thief. It comes to rob you from the beautiful things that are in your life. The feeling is a thief. If you're not careful, it'll take everything from you. And not take it physically, it'll give you blinders so that you don't see it, which is even worse. Imagine having something and not being able to see it. Many of us have health and we're not able to see it because we're so entangled in our own minds about something else. Many of us have our parents or children, all these things that, you know, yeah, but so what? But I want that over there, right? Yeah, but it's almost impossible to get something else if you don't even have what you have. How can you get something else? If you can't even see what you have, something else is only going to become a void as well. It's going to become invisible. You might be able to see it for a couple of days and then it becomes invisible all over again. So that insatiable, unquenchable thirst of not being in the right place. and you are in the right place. Wherever you're standing, I want to remind you, if you don't know that, maybe you know that and you're shaking your head. You're saying, yes, I know. Those of you who don't know, I want to remind you, you are where you're supposed to be. You don't need to be somewhere else. You can finally rest. Sit down, rest. Or get to work. It doesn't matter, but understand that you are where you're supposed to be. You don't need to chase it. You can move towards it without feeling like you don't have it, because you do have it. It's there already. Right in front of you. Look at that little painting. How's it going, Eric? Thank you so much, my friend. And then painting becomes actually rewarding. It becomes rewarding. It actually becomes fruitful, not just for you, but for others. Painting stops being about me and my sense of self, but it actually becomes a vehicle for others to see themselves. Becomes a mirror for the soul. Becomes a mirror for the soul. Look at that. Bruston, love your sexy voice. Bruston, I gotta get back to my sexy podcast, man. I gotta start using my sexy voice in my podcast. my muy macho sexiness has to be in my podcast now. Check it out. And that's it. All kinds of weird stuff make a painting. All kinds of weird brushstrokes, and just kind of comes together, and it's like, oh, okay, I see what this cat was doing. Say it and I'm there, amigo. We gotta do it. We gotta do it. We gotta get that podcast going. It's the only way to live. Live sexy or die. We gotta live sexy or die, my friend. It's the only way. All right, let's do another one. Those of you who want to hang out, I'm going to do another one and see what's up. Just see what happens. I think what's going to happen though is that I'm gonna have to restart the video to see if I can save this video, because if I keep them too long, then YouTube, or what is it? Yeah, Instagram doesn't let me save them. So my friends, I'm going to get out of this video right now, and I'm going to come back to it. If you want to come back, you're more than welcome, but just to save it on my phone, because if I keep them too long, Instagram doesn't allow me to. They become too long to save them on my phone. So that's what I'm going to do. By the way, if you're not coming back, I want to remind you, this painting and others are going to be on my eBay shop, and I'm going to start the auctions at $1. All right, so check them out. It's going to be tonight on eBay. The link is in my profile. Click that link. Clickety, clickety, click that link. Click, 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 click. Dude, I love that. All right, I'll see you in a bit.